What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Patients on Demand. I'm Christine, and today I am answering another question from a mastermind I did recently, which is how many leads should a website be generating on average? Like, what are my expectations? How do I know if I'm doing good or bad? So listen to me unpack this answer. It's not quite as simple as you think, but I will give you the clues so that you can figure out how yours is doing. Take a listen, and whether you've been with us months or whether you're a new business owner, there are some really important lessons here to understand what makes things work and how we determine whether or not they're working and we need to make changes. All right, enjoy.
And then this might be kind of an unfair question, Christine. And obviously it's going to range a lot, but like a well-performing website, people are like, well, how many leads should a website be generating, or what should I be expecting? What should I be aiming for? Should I be aiming for and my website's, producing 3 patients a month. Is that good? Obviously it's going to range for people that have been around longer and have built up, the SEO and stuff like that. But is there something like a marker that you gauge with regards to like what's realistic and what should be kind of in ballpark range for what people should be aiming for leads generated by a website?
Absolutely. So I love this question. This is great. It's one of my favorite questions. So there's a couple factors we want to look at, but we do have a range that we're determining. That's been the advantage of, we've now been doing this long enough. We track all of our clients' data, track all their leads. So we really see the trends, and it helps us know, like, is something performing? Is it not? Like, is that what we expect? Because we got people all over the country, even out of the country, that we really can safely be like, yep, that's converting, or nope, that's not working. But the parts that go into it is, first off, I'm always looking at how many people actually visit your site. Now, for a lot of you, how many people visit your site? You probably go on and just look at your Google Analytics, or maybe if you're in a Wix or Weebly, they have some analytics, and you're going to get, here's the scary part, you're going to get different information. I always do Google Analytics. So if you don't have Google Analytics, they are the most consistent. If you don't have that installed and you're relying on like a Weebly or Wix, we find that those are really off on their numbers. Like, the numbers are just not very consistent compared to other trackers. So I'd really go install Google Analytics, just for the record. Do that, start tracking through there. But the biggest mistake people make is they'll look at it and be like, oh, I have 2,000 people visiting this website. Why isn't it working? Right? Well, a lot of times what I look down is how many of those people are actually in your local area. Believe it or not. So I'll even have people with 200-300 visitors, but less than 50 are actually in their state. Just to give you an idea. And this is the power of the search engines and the Google and all the stuff, is sometimes you'll have content on there that becomes popular in other places and other people find it. Or you just got family members who visit you a lot, or maybe you shared it somewhere public on the internet, and now you've got people, like, if you're sharing it on Instagram, like, that's great, and you'll get more people, but that doesn't necessarily mean you'll get more people in your area unless you're very targeted with your Instagram and like who you're talking to, right? So the first thing we've got to look at is really how many people do you actually have locally viewing your website. Okay. Now, if you're in the 150 to 300 range of people viewing your website locally, you absolutely should have people either opting in to forums, downloading things, or picking up the phone and calling you, or scheduling, whatever your calls to action are. If you're in the 150 to 200 range with people who are local, you absolutely, if you don't have that going on, like, we've got a huge website problem. Okay. That's like one of our, milestones. Now, we have people who, even at 100 visitors locally, will still get inquiries. We do. Am I freaking out at 100 if we're kind of like just, only 2 or 3? Not necessarily. It's like what happens when we scale. But once you get to that 150, 300 range, you should at least be getting, 10 inquiries a month at bare minimum. Like, that, just like if the website's right. Okay. Now, a lot of people aren't. I have people come to me and they're in the 500 range and are getting 0. I've had people come to me in the 2,000 range and are getting 0. And I'm like, oh, you're sitting on a pot of gold. Like, holy moly. They're like, this is bad. I'm like, oh, well, it's a great opportunity. Yeah, it's a great opportunity. So I think Ben, you were getting some before, but you've even seen, even if you were getting some before, you've seen we made changes, and that's evolved, right?
Yep.
So really what I want to see, just so you know, on average, for any page with an opt-in on the internet, on average, you should be getting 2% people opting in. So if we don't have 2%, we're definitely in trouble. But really, most of our clients get 8, 9, some upwards to 20% opting in when you get the website really nailed down. So I really look at the best numbers are making sure you have the real numbers, and then making sure you're looking at the percentage wise as well, because the percentage is what's going to tell you kind of what happens at scale, and you can make better business decisions about that. It's like, oh, well, my website's converting at 10% for people locally. Like maybe I do want to now do SEO. Maybe I do want to do ads, maybe because I know I'm going to get a return. A lot of people try to go sign up for things, especially ads, before they actually know what they're going to send them to converts. And then you get people coming and you're like, I got more traffic, but I'm not capitalizing on any of them because none of them convert. Now I'm just wasting money over here on ads when I really don't have the foundation to send people to. So the short answer is we always want at least 2% opting in from local traffic. But really, with our clients, we're aiming for closer to that 10 at least, and that's across all markets. Like some markets have higher opt-in percentages than other, et cetera. So that's kind of across everything. Like I said, I've got some people who have way higher than 10%, but no matter what your market is, we'd like to be looking around that 8 to 10% as a bare minimum once everything's set up and running.
Right. Yeah. No, I think it's great that you mentioned you can, because you don't want to just put all your energy and effort into SEO and driving traffic, because at the end of the day, if your website doesn't perform and convert those people, it's a waste of time and energy. So I think it's super important to make sure you have a website that is going to convert and be successful in that before you spend a whole bunch of money on trying to improve your SEO and drive traffic on that front. I think that's something that gets
probably the hardest thing to convince people of, though. Let me tell you, it's like the chicken and the egg, and who comes first. They're like, well, because everybody gets so emotionally attached, and it's okay. I was too. I remember the pain I felt ripping apart my first website, because it looked really amazing and everybody complimented me on it and blah, blah, but it did nothing. Okay. Did nothing. Yeah. I remember the pain of ripping it apart. Most people are really scared to rip, they literally feel like they're tearing up a masterpiece when they, change websites. Right. It's okay. I get it. A lot of people built their first one. There's a lot of emotional, time invested, attachment. But when I remind them back to it's not doing anything for you. Those people who can make that leap, and then they're like, you're right, I don't want things to be the same. But it's amazing how many people won't. They're like, no, I know if I just get more people to it, it'll work. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah. Call me in 6 months. Let me know how that goes.
Right. I mean, I know before I handed my website over to Christine, I had emotional attachment to it. It was my baby. I just reflect on and it was reverse thinking. I was like, I remember how much time I spent on this. I don't want to, give it up. I've, spent so much time and energy, and looking back, I shouldn't have spent all that time and energy doing it and whatnot. But yeah, so I understand that emotional attachment, but it's over. Rip the Band-Aid off and we're good now. So
exactly. We've ripped the Band-Aid off. We are moving on.
Yes, exactly.